Ibarramendia family, or famously known as the Ibarra family, was said to be landowners and considered as one of the wealthiest family in the novel. They were greatly known for their power, wealth, and contributions that shaped the town of San Diego. The family tree, or relationship of the characters of the novel Noli Metangere and El Filibusterismo, is about Juan Crisostomo Ibarra, a wealthy young man of mixed Spanish and Filipino ancestry who has recently returned to the Philippines from Europe after spending 7 years studying abroad. Don Pedro Ibarramendia is a wealthy Spaniard that bought a whole forest in exchange for clothes, jewels, and money. Soon after, he hanged himself from a balete tree within the woods, where the townspeople discovered him. A few months later, Don Saturnino Ibarramendia, a young Spanish mestizo claiming to be Don Pedro's son, came to San Diego and established himself there, devoting his energy to agriculture. At some point, the family shortened its surname to Ibarra. After several years, Don Saturnino married a young woman from Manila, and the two had a son, Rafael, becoming the favorite of the townspeople for his charity. Don Rafael later married a member of the Magsalin family. The couple had a son, Crisostomo, whom Rafael sent to Europe to study. Later on, Rafael's wife died. Years after, Don Rafael was imprisoned for accidentally killing a Spanish tax collector. He soon after died in prison. A year later, Crisostomo returned to San Diego and attempted to establish a school there, before being implicated in a revolt orchestrated by Padre Salvi. Fleeing the authorities, Crisostomo changed his identity to the jeweler Simon. He then attempted to instigate a revolution to save his former betrothed, Maria Clara, from the nunnery. After 2 failed attempts, Simon's involvement was made known. He then fled to Tiani and hid at the house of Padre Florentino, where he took poison to evade capture. These changes suggest about the Creoles in the Philippines was not a Creole in the pure sense of the term. For one thing, the Philippine Creole had more native than Spanish blood, because the Spanish didn't come in such numbers as to establish a large community that could intermarry within itself and keep the blood pure. For another, even the Spaniards who did establish families to keep the Creole for, at most, 3 generations. For the Creoles, purity of blood was not really an issue until the 19th century, when the Peninsulares started showing up. Before the Peninsulares started to flock the country, measure of being Filipino was not so much of the amount of Spanish blood in their vein as by their culture, position, and wealth. An example of this idea is that a friar's bastard by a peasant girl might look completely Spanish, just like Maria Clara, but would have no status as a Creole. While a man like Crisostomo Ibarra, who already had 2 mixed marriages away from a Spanish grandfather, would still be a Creole, because he's a landowner and a gentleman.